Welcome to Offset. Larry and the Big Man, two-time Stanley Cup champion Jay Caufield. I'm Larry Richert, along with Dave Ricchini, who's become really the Nostradamus of our sports programming, and he has eyes in the future and very unique takes. Right, Dave?
Agree.
We want to thank One Team Media, Brian Hess, also Mark Huntington, Ryan Jurgen, and Logan Douglas for producing this episode, and also from Odyssey, Pittsburgh, Michael Spacciapoli.
And also the Rourke Automotive Group, Dave Rourke, the title sponsor. They've been great with us all along. And also Tom Grillish with Henderson Brothers. We can't thank the two of you enough for being a part of what we're doing. Thanks.
And that said, let's get to it as we get ready for a very, very big weekend in Pittsburgh. We've got Friday Night Lights still going on with high school football. You've got Pitt, Notre Dame, Saturday at Acrisure with ESPN's Game Day with Pat McAfee coming home to the Burgh. He's a Plum native, if you didn't know. And then we've got Steelers, Bengals on Sunday. Who knows is going to show up? Which Steeler team is going to show up Sunday?
It's going to be interesting since, these teams met back on October 16th, the 33-31 Bengals victory. Since that time, Bengals have lost two straight, and they've scored 80 points in those two games.
Yeah.
So coming off the bye for the Bengals, it's when we last saw them, Chase Brown was basically calling out the defense in his post-game press conference. And then what they do, they trade their best linebacker, Logan Wilson, to the Dallas Cowboys. So interesting to see how they come out of that. And, I think it's going to be a different game than the first time they played. First off, after what Jamar Chase did against the Steelers, the 161, 16 catches and a touchdown. But I think you alluded to it with the Pitt Notre Dame game being played at Acrisure Stadium at noon on Saturday. That playing surface is going to be different. And I think, we'll get into it, but Notre Dame's a running team. It's going to be pretty choppy in the middle of the field there. So I think that's actually going to work to the Steelers' benefit on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll still never understand why that has to happen that way. I mean, the NFL team's in there, and Pitt's going to have
They've done it before.
I know. I have no idea why.
Without an issue before that we're really aware of.
It's never looked like the greatest field. When you see some games, you can tell, does that look like a fast field? This doesn't look like a fast field. So,
but in your football playing days, I'm sure you played on natural surface.
We did
a lot, and you played on artificial surface. I'm guessing it would be preferable, even if there's some slip and slide, to be on a natural field as a player.
As a player, it is, but not when the footing is bad. Like if the footing's bad, then that's not what you want. It's going to be interesting what's going to turn out to look, especially the weather leading up to it.
And then in a couple of weeks, they got 4 high school championship games to play on that field, and you've got Pitt, Miami the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and then the Steelers. So
that's tough. So, with all that being said, I do think you got something coming up here. With the bye week and how the players on Cincinnati were calling out the defensive side. I don't know what. As we talked with Pony on Tuesday, I have no idea what to think from week to week, what we're going to get with the Steelers. I would think, again, I'm going to go to the same part. When you have a game that's embarrassing to you, whatever way, and the offense didn't feel like that's how they probably feel right now. On their flight home, what are they going to do? I'd expect something, but they have to have some. I mentioned too, the personnel set has to look different to free up DK Metcalf, to free up, and the offensive line has to give him time so it's not, where the pocket's not caving in. So that's going to be part of our prediction, my thought process. But it's a great week. It's a great week of football here in Pittsburgh again. Again, another great week to look forward to what we've got ahead of us.
There were rumors that the Bengals were going to bring back Phillip Rivers or maybe Brett Favre, but Joe Flacco's had success against the Steelers, and hopefully the defense can, do the adjustments necessary to, they were running and throwing all over the Steelers on that Thursday night in Cincinnati, and you don't want a repeat of that, right?
Yeah, and you saw on Sunday night, too, the Steelers got banged up in the secondary. We'll see how they make it out this week. It's, Joey Porter Jr. returned to the game. What's Darius Slay's status going to be? Because it's going to be important. You want to, with those two wide receivers and the way Flacco was playing going into the bye, you expect them to come out of it pretty successful. But I think, getting back to the offense, it's a get-right game for them. The Bengals are last in yards allowed per game, last in points allowed per game.
And they lost that heartbreaker that's got their locker room divided.
Yeah, and you mentioned on Tuesday with Pony, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I do think, he's a guy that, Seattle signed in the offseason. He played 8 games last season for the Saints and became that deep threat that, he never really became in Green Bay. I know he's got that history with Aaron Rodgers, and then he went to Kansas City.
Devontae Adams there at the same time, though, so
Yeah.
it kind of and drop past a few drops and things like that.
But he is a deep threat, and I would anticipate him being elevated from the practice squad for Sunday's game. And even if you got to take some chances, you got to make the defense think that option's there, and that's going to open up stuff for DK Metcalf in the intermediate routes as well as the tight ends in the backside of the backfield.
So I'm in total agreement with what Dave said. But there is one thing: when the pocket is squeezing you early, and you got to step out of where you're at, you're taking all those options even away. Like there's not enough time. They got to buy him a little more time so he can have a chance to throw it deep.
It was a
Max
nail
protect.
pick, it looked like, on every play. Rodgers running for his life.
That's what it was.
And he wasn't throwing accurately, which
and not cut right, and didn't look comfortable the whole time. So yeah, that would do it to anybody. But I also I got to tell you, he took a big hit from Dupree, a big hit. Nobody talks about that enough over this week. A big hit, shot to the side of the head. To me, that's a rattling hit for anybody. And they do it. They gotta buy him time. They just have to, so we can make that. Have an option or a depth, because it's so, when you're watching this game, do you not feel like, when you're watching the Steelers of late, are you not feeling like everything is 10 yards in, right? Like until the couple of shots at DK Metcalf, who's fighting through double teams all the time, that you don't have, and you need some other weapon. Look what Joe Flacco's coming in with, right? Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Look at Minnesota. Look at the teams that are out there and the threats that they have. This is like, they need to have that. I hope that's what we see take place by the weekend.
All right, time for your official predictions. Last week, by the way, Jay and I picked the Steelers. Nostradamus.
So he has the chance to wait for last now. He won. He won last week. He had the
I always go last.
You want to go last?
I do.
Okay, he deserves it. He deserves it. I'm going to go with Larry. I'm going to go with this. I'm going to say that the idea that they want to write themselves, the running game. Warren played the game really hard. Larry's looking. I am going to go with.
Write it down.
Man, I'm going to say that they're going to put 31 up on Cincinnati.
Wow.
And I'm going to say that Cincinnati, I like to think the Steelers are not going to give them time, but the backfield, the secondaries bother me a little bit with injuries, but 31-27.
Wow.
Steelers.
I'm going to go with the Steelers. I don't think either team's going to score as much as they did on each other on that Thursday night. I'm going to go with 24-17 Steelers.
We're so close.
What do you got?
I got 23-17 Steelers. I do think the field's going to play a role. I think it's, Jamar Chase. He's a twitchy guy. It's going to slow him down his routes. And you talk about getting time. Why not use that extra offensive lineman and create some mass protect opportunities? Take some shots downfield. I wouldn't be surprised if they have some success on Sunday with that. But lower scoring than the previous game.
All right, there it is.
I didn't look at the weather report either, by the way.
We're all picking the Steelers.
What do we see?
Let me
What's it like for Sunday?
Lean on my, I was a television weather person before climate change, so I got off the air. I was in the weather witness.
You made us feel very
protection
comfortable when
program.
it was bad weather here, Larry.
The one time when we had the tornadoes,
Yes.
Jay's
Our little
family
girls.
is young girls at the time. They knew, mom and dad's friend's serious. He rolled up his sleeves and told us to get under the table.
That's exactly
All right,
right.
Saturday,
Very true.
53, doesn't look like any rain, so should be a decent day.
And
for
Sunday.
football.
Sunday 63 and Sunday.
Okay. All right.
Periods of clouds and sunshine. Real feel 61.
So Saturday, Sunday,
Saturday's
good. I say that because Pitt's playing on that Saturday again. If it would be wet, that would be a game changer for the field surface. So if the 2 dry days, it'll be as good as it can be.
Yeah. So okay. So good. I'll stick with my score.
All right, that said, you mentioned, so we had a production meeting. It's basically Jay and Dave telling me, here's what we're talking about. Top 5 AFC and NFC teams at this point of the season.
Yeah.
Should we go first?
You go first. Yep.
I'm going KC first, which is surprising considering they're currently 8th
It is wild.
AFC.
Yep.
But and these next 2 weeks are going to be huge for the Chiefs because they're at Denver coming out of the bye and then home against Indianapolis. But don't forget Andy Reid, 22-4 in his career coming out of the bye. So that plays a part. But I just think the track record with Patrick Mahomes, I mean, the fact that he's started 7 seasons
Yep.
and they've made the conference championship game 7 seasons. So why go against that?
Yep.
I have the Chiefs on top. I got New England too. I just think the way that they've already beat Buffalo in Buffalo, and then they still have them coming back. The well-rounded offense, the way Drake May's playing, Travion Henderson being added to the offense, big play throughout the backfield. I like the Mike Vrabel Drake May combo. I just think that his attitude, Vrabel's attitude, what he brings to that team, and then Drake May's got the it factor. And now we'll see how it holds up down the stretch run, but I got them too. The Ravens, currently 10th in the AFC, is my third team. As I mentioned too, they still have 5 division games to play. So it's all in front of them, getting healthier. Lamar Jackson getting better and better with that hamstring. 4th, Indianapolis, which they're currently 1st, but I have them as the 4th team. Again, can Daniel Jones hold up? I mean, Jonathan Taylor, that run game's gonna work, and in the playoffs if they can get there. But I got them 5th or 4th, and then I got the Bills 5th.
Okay.
With honorable mention being Denver, the Chargers, and Steelers.
Okay. I'm going to go. I think Dave, how he explained it was perfect, but I am going with KC too. They brought him right back into the play, and I think with the coaching staff and everything. So I like KC first. I'm going with New England second too. I think strong across the board, and the attitude that they seem to have that Mike Vrabel brought in is perfect for the fit of the personnel they have. And then I go Buffalo. I'm going Buffalo third, thinking that it was a major hiccup that they had in Miami, and it's a regrouping moment for them. Then I got Baltimore 4th, and I got Indy 5th. So I'm very close to Dave, so with the same kind of picks. But I think Indy, close to losing over the weekend and losing the Steelers, I'm keeping them down. But still, Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones has to keep himself on a good run. But that's my 5 in the AFC.
I'm going to go with the number 1 team in the AFC, the New England Patriots. To your point, this is just Drake May's the real deal. Mike Vrabel is proven to be a very thoughtful, detailed coach. So they're number 1, and surprisingly, the Steelers beat them thanks to 5 turnovers in that game. Then I'm going to go with the Colts. Even though they seem hot and cold losing to the Steelers, I just think they got a lot of talent, and the running game matters. Followed by the Broncos. They keep finding ways to win. And then the Chiefs 4th, and the Bills, who I did pick to win the Super Bowl, are hanging in the 5th spot on my list.
If you look at the odds, Chiefs have the best odds. The Colts have the second best. Bills have the 3rd best odds in the AFC.
Okay.
All right. Now
NFC.
flip it to the NFC.
Yeah. Dave, good. Roll again.
I'm going to go with the current favorites, the Rams. I just think top to bottom, the most well-rounded team with the way Stafford's playing, the weapons he has, a wide receiver, the running game, the defense. I got them as a top choice. I'm going to go Lions second. They have the 3rd best odds. Interesting note for this past weekend, Dan Campbell overtook the play calling duties.
Yeah.
And they put up 44 points against the Commanders, but so be it. I like the Lions still. I'm going to put the Eagles reluctantly in the 3rd spot just because, again, track record. I talked about Kansas City. They get there. I'm still thinking that they're going to figure it out offensively with Saquon and Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So I have Eagles 3rd, Seahawks 4th. Again, I still want to see Sam Darnold prove it. The turnovers have to be cleaned up a little bit. That defense is legit, though. They shut down. They've been shutting down teams, and they still have some guys coming back off injured reserve in the next couple of weeks. So they're a legit defense. And then in the 5th spot, I got the Bucs and Packers. Again, that can change too. Baker Mayfield, he's gritty, and in the Packers, that defense, they can still get going with Micah Parsons and some of the younger guys they have, but I got those guys tied for 5th.
All right, for me, I get those. I'm going to go. I have the Rams first. All the reasons that Dave mentioned. I have Seattle second. I think the receiving core, They just make things happen. So I got Rams, Seattle. I'm going with Detroit third. I've got Philly fourth, and I've got Green Bay fifth. But I've always say that with until they show me some consistency on. Again, I had them as a Super Bowl choice to start the year, and they've been let down after letdown. In some of the games, they tied Dallas 40-40. I mean, to me, they're not good enough. Tampa Bay really should be ahead of Green Bay, but I'm going to stick with Green Bay in it. That's my top 5 NFC.
Which Packers team will show up on any given Sunday? Sound familiar?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks over the Rams. So it's Seahawks, Rams 1-2, Detroit third. Like the way the Lions are playing, I think it'll make a difference. Campbell calling the plays. And then the Bucs, there's something about Baker Mayfield. He's a winner. I see him as part of the conversation. And then as a courtesy, put the Eagles. It was either going to be the Eagles or Packers fifth, but the Eagles find ways to win and get in the conversation. So Seahawks, Rams, Lions, Bucs, and Eagles.
Notice only 6 NFC teams amongst us in contention. AFC.
Yeah.
Much deeper at this point in the season.
It is, for sure. All right, let's talk about University of Pittsburgh. Who would have thought 4 weeks into the college football season after they dropped 2 heartbreakers, leading by 10 on the road in Morgantown, lost that game, leading by 17 at home with Louisville, losing that game. Louisville turns out to be a pretty good football team, but then they switch quarterbacks, true freshman 18-year-old Mason Heinchel, and they do a 5-game run through the ACC, and there they are on the top, and every game broke their way over the weekend. So they literally control their own destiny. Now, Notre Dame this weekend is a non-conference game, so they could actually afford to lose, not to get in the playoff picture, but for the ACC title, they'd be still in the conversation. They would have to go on the road in Atlanta and beat Georgia Tech, which was top 10, and then host Miami. You hope it snows because, you know, the Miami players don't like the cold weather and the frozen tundra. So, guys, what are your thoughts on Pitt and the ACC?
Yeah, Pitt had the bye week, but to your point, they still won. Wake Forest goes to Virginia, upsets them, and then California goes to Louisville and upsets the Cardinals. And then so now we're down to 5 one-loss teams in the ACC. Those 2 I mentioned, Georgia Tech, SMU, and Duke. Virginia plays at Duke this weekend, so one team's going to lose. Pitt plays at Georgia Tech next week, and as you said, they basically control their own destiny. And SMU hosts Louisville in 2 weeks, so it's all in front of them. It'd be nice to win this game, but even if they were to lose to the Irish, they still have it all in front of them for the ACC championship.
Absolutely.
I think this game, what it means is college game day. We'll talk about that in a second. With college game day coming to town, everybody knows what this means with Notre Dame, and you can't have a bigger spotlight on it. Coming to Pittsburgh here, it's a great football weekend, as we talked about in the city of Pittsburgh with the Steelers on Sunday. But for me, if you lose, as Dave was mentioning, if they do lose and you're still in the ACC, if they win, I can't wait to see where they're going to be ranked as far as what the college football playoff goes. I mean, to me, it's one of the greater things happening right now. I can't remember the excitement around it. I don't remember what year it would have been that you would be this excited about not only the ACC, but potential college football playoff. It's great for around here. Love it.
That's a noon kickoff Saturday at Acrisure, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and ESPN's Game Day. For those that don't know, Pat McAfee went to Plum High School. He was a Mustang, kicked. He was a kicker at WVU. Actually, he was part of the losing end of that 13-9 game where it was the upset of the history of Pitt football in Morgantown when they were ranked second. But yet, Pat loves Pittsburgh, and I'm sure he had a huge influence with the producers of the show. Hey, let's go to Pittsburgh, Pitt Notre Dame. It's going to be a sellout. There'll be a lot of Notre Dame fans there too. You know, they'll bring Nick Saban and all the gang to the North Shore. That puts your team in a national spotlight. The question is, everybody that's looking at Mason Heinchel from around the country in the football ranks is going to try to find a way to snatch him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's played well. He's made some mistakes. But what's, I think, encouraging to Pitt fans is, in spite of the mistakes he's been making, they're winning games. So they're able to overcome those things. How do you see that game rolling out?
It's going to be a test against the Notre Dame defense. They're 17th in the nation in points per game. They're averaging just over 100 yards rushing per game, so it's going to be a lot on his shoulders. And Notre Dame likes to control the time of possession. Jeremiah Love is one of the best running backs in the nation, 5th with 988 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns, currently 8th in Heisman odds. Their quarterback, C.J. Carr, who's the grandson of Lloyd Carr, the former Michigan head coach, also having a good year. He's up there in Heisman odds as well, too. Not a runner. He only has 21 yards rushing on the season, so he's more of a thrower. But so I think possessions are going to be hard to come by for Pitt. It's going to be a big test of that defense, how they come out of that bye. Can they shore up their run defense? Because they're going to be tested for sure. And really, we said early on, okay, the first start for Henshaw, he passed that test. The first road start at Florida State, he passed that test. Now is his first ranked game at home with College Game Day here. How's he going to react?
And Pat Narduzzi's teams have a knack for knocking off big teams in the spotlight in the moment. They did it in Death Valley against Clemson when they hadn't lost there in 25 games back in the day. They were 28-point underdogs there. They did it against Miami that was ranked number 2. Kenny Pickett with his famous big start did that. So you're right. As the late Mike Lang would say, the turkey's on the table.
I think if I'm going to go back to one thing about the Pitt experience right now, is that 6 weeks ago, guys were walking in the locker room every day for practice, and it was like a blah moment, right? Now how quickly it's all turned around, because you cannot – Notre Dame every week has a spotlight on them. This is going to – now the spotlight's getting bigger and bigger at Pitt, right? And this game is going to be the one that tells what it's about. I think Pat Narduzzi is going to have them ready to go. You mentioned some of the surprises they've had over the years, and I just think the ability to walk in every day you go to practice and there's an excitement level that's through the roof, that's going to take – I think the atmosphere is going to be great. I think they're going to love it, the players, and I think they're going to make something happen. Like I said, Notre Dame's every time. They're used to it. National TV, felt like it. Pitt, you got to find on the ACC channel, and now they're all going to be right here, and it's big time for me. I think they're going to come to play and have a great game. I think he's going to have them ready to go.
This is their first playoff game for Notre Dame, because if they win this, they have Syracuse and at Stanford. They're going to be 3 touchdown favorites in those 2 games. They're 10.5 point favorites against Pitt this week. If they win this, they're basically in the playoffs. So this is their first playoff game.
We shall see. Yep. And that said, normally pre-show we talk about the big Man Blitz, and Jay lets us know what he's sour about. But this is news to us too. So this week's big Man Blitz is?
Yeah, on top of the things we would be sour about watching the Steelers play the other night and how we all felt about that, I'm going to go with the idea that I cannot stand when they have an ex-referee in the booth that they go to hear what the reasoning was why they called or did not make a call. Because you never really get an answer. They never really go against, was that pass interference? Was that holding? Was that this and that? I have a hard time with it. They're wasting our time with me trying to listen to somebody explaining what's been done.
Why they didn't call or called.
Yeah. I can't stand it. It's a waste of like sideline interviews are a waste of time. So is that. They've got they're employing somebody that talks about the game.
All right. No.
And I'm including the NHL in this too. It's not just football. It's just the NFL.
No more sideline interviews for me. I'm done.
Yeah, really.
For the Gladiators?
No.
I'm talking NFL sideline interviews, not college. No. They still have
They're retiring Aaron Donald's jersey Saturday, number 97. He might be at the game on the sidelines.
That's going to be a great interview, Larry. That's a different interview. I'm talking NFL. Don't forget, I'm saying NFL. No, cannot stand the NFL because the coaches
honestly, it's almost nothing.
You know what? You got it, and you like them to be respectful to the lady.
Courtesy.
Yeah. And it's what's paying the bills. I mean, there's a reason why they're talking to us. So, truth be told, when you are being interviewed, be respectful. Like I'm talking about the coach to the person, the reporter.
They're getting paid to do that.
Yeah.
That's a contractual, so people understand.
There's a reason for it.
That's a contractual obligation.
Right.
The coaches have to do that. Yes, just because they're being nice guys.
So you like them to see, yeah, right. You like them to be, a lot of guys aren't nice when they're doing it either. So I'd like them to be respectful. That's one part of my big man blitz. Yeah, you brought something up, Larry. That's made me coaches can be respectful to the reporter, but I am still going to say I'm not a fan unless you're going to tell me something really like you have something worthwhile and not usually side with what took place on the field and or ice. That's my big Man Blitz.
It's the best silent interview I saw this past weekend. Kurt Signetti, they asked him before the game, Indiana's never won at Penn State. He says, this team's never played here, and then walked off.
That was
I loved it.
This team, meaning the team he has today, has never played here. So he's one that drops a lot of viral comments, Coach Signetti, but they almost lost to Penn State. They should have won.
Yeah, what would that?
I was rooting for you.
So let's talk about Penn State.
They lost. All right, next topic.
Okay. Last few minutes. Jay, I'm surprised you're not going to Sweden. This is a little precursor. This is a very atypical season where you have the Olympics coming up,
It is wild.
the Winter Olympics, and this is the first, it's like a home and home sort of in
Yeah.
Sweden. Explain.
Yeah, so for me, they're going out there, and it is wild with the Olympics coming up. So really, you're going to have 4 days off. They traveled on a Monday night,
Right.
right? So then they don't play till tomorrow. So it's 4 days in between games, which is good. It gives them some practice time out there because truly, it's a business trip. It's a
The
business.
hot tub, the sauna, Sweden.
The ice isn't there. The ice bar, right? There's an ice bar out there, right? The hotel, right? It's truthfully, Dave, you're kind of place, to be honest. What? Then they come back and they got 4 days off before their next game. So they give them a break. But inside of a season, when you get 3 weeks off and they squeeze games in, when they're really squeezing games in, they're going to have 8 off days between these two games. I mean, and with these two games there. So look, they've been playing. Nobody expected them to be where they're at. Playing great. Goaltending has been great, but there's injury bug has got them, right?
They got to stop giving up late leads.
It's got them, right? It caught them late. It caught them the last 2 games that they played. We saw how they went down to L.A. They gave that up. Murashov, that's the huge story too, gets his first NHL start. Ironically, Marc-Andre Fleury got his first start against the L.A. Kings when he was 18 years old, pushing 19. Unbelievable. I still think Eddie Olczyk, and he was the coach at that time. I think if he felt like he had Fleury for the whole season, his career path might be different because you don't know what they would do to your record at that given time. So Marc-Andre Fleury at 18, while Murashov 21, he gets a start, and he was good. He was really good. So you can see this is going to be interesting because Jari's out for a number of weeks. They've lost Brazeau for a number of weeks. Achari's out for a number of weeks. Jones on the defensive side, weeks. So the injury bug has got him, but guys have stepped up and been good. But they did give away They gave away points before they went away on this trip. And you can't do that. They can't afford to do that because you don't know how this is all going to play out. But certainly, they're getting better goaltending. Number 1 on the power play in the NHL. They've been really, really good.
Fun to watch.
They have been. I mean, nobody gave him a shot. And I think anytime you're led by Sidney Crosby, I would never think that they wouldn't be somehow battling. If you got goaltending, you were always going to be competitive, and they were going to find some way to make it happen. The Malkin line was the best in the NHL to start the first couple of weeks of the season, and then we saw injuries to Brazeau, but Malkin's still rolling along. Carlson has been really good for them on the blue line. And again, I like where they're going. These games in Nashville, if they play the way they have been and get good goaltending, they should come home. They should come home with 4 points. They should do that. Nashville's an underachieving.
Real quick, the ice bar experience. So you're greeted by a staff who will assist you in donning a warm cape and a pair of gloves, maintaining a constant temperature of -5 degrees Celsius, 19 degrees Fahrenheit, year-round. It can accommodate 60 guests at a time. You get a complimentary drink. So I could see you shouldn't make it's not too late. You could still make the trip,
Yeah, you
Jay.
should.
Get there in time and put your gloves on.
Should have went to Sweden, big man.
Should have went to Sweden. But hey, by the way, Larry, they did not take it's split.
Right.
And they're only taking the Nashville PA announcers and things like that. We were talking about that.
They should have taken Ryan
One at least,
with it.
yes. Yeah, I talked to him about it. And I said, are you going? He goes, no, they're taking both Nashville. They're taking the two from Nashville for both games, which seems kind of.
But it's the Penguins and it's Josh and
That's an
Wilkie
outrage.
for
Yeah,
both games.
they're going to get that. So it's still going to be covered by, our network. So, but for the in-house, like what Larry did when they went to Ireland, and what a great experience you had for that.
I think it was the first time they treated the overseas games as neutral site games.
Yeah.
And then the teams were complaining, hey, we're the designated home team. You're taking a game away from us. at home, can we? And so they really experimented with it, and we were the first, as I understand, to get to do it, to give the home team that flavor. So they brought the public address announcer, and that's going to happen more in the future and already has with some of the other games.
So it was funny when I saw him walking through the hallways at the arena last week. I thought, hey, are you making the same trip? Because we talked about you. They said, yeah.
By the way,
both in
Ryan Mill went to North Allegheny High School, just up the road from the One Team Media Studios.
Yeah.
And that's also my alma mater. I went there right after they got electricity.
In
And
addition,
I was a goaltender for the Tigers hockey team. Obviously, my career ended there. But in our lightning round, I just got to mention, since you know Cleveland's Guardians, so first, a couple of weeks ago, it was basketball and the scandal with betting and mobsters. Now baseball with prop bets on pitches. What is going on?
never forget, I was driving up to Cleveland for a series, got a call because we had a Manuel Clase video in our open. And they said, you want to take it out? And it was before the trade deadline. I thought he was traded. Then I get on Twitter and see what happens. Then will be investigation for that. And then, weeks later, Luis Ortiz, same thing. And it was very strange how it all went down up there because, the Guardians really couldn't say anything because they're just MLB's handling investigation, paid leave for the players.
You don't want that on you in any way, shape, or form.
Nothing was put out there, but this is the danger. And the kind of rumors were about the pitches, and that's what happened. That's the danger with these betting sites is they call them flash bets, and you can do it for football too. You can bet on the first play of a drive. Is it a pass? Is it a run? Is it a first down? All these things. In baseball, they were betting on, is it a ball or strike? Think about that, how meaningless that is to a baseball game. But if you're influenced,
Right.
you can easily throw one in there. You can
If I
spike
know
a
the
curveball.
outcome,
Yeah.
and I got somebody doing that,
I'd have to think guys are stuck in something. They're in something deeper, and the way to get out of it is to do something like this.
Yeah.
Because why on earth would you
risk everything.
I just don't
Go
get
to
it. I think it's ruined their career. Their careers are done, right? Careers are done.
Pretty
if
much.
it's proven to be true.
I mean,
right?
they're presumed innocent until
Even if
guilty.
not, who's going to touch those players?
Yeah.
However, who's going to touch them until there's a resolution? And if they had any endorsements, forget about those. And what happens post-career? You're not like, someone like we had Brett Kiesel on the show, someone who's doing good things and has a great reputation. You can't do any of that after this scandal with these guys.
Well, so going back to playing, we have meetings at the beginning of every season. Now it would be a completely different kind of talk as far, like, first of all, they try and tell you how you handle, make sure you handle this way, stay out of this, and so on and so forth. Today, part of that meeting would be, you cannot go anywhere near what these guys are doing. You're literally tempting fate for a number that's nowhere near. Now, that's what I said. Somehow they're stuck in something, I believe, that you're being forced to be this guy. You're the little piece of the puzzle that's going to make these guys more money, and you're stuck. And it has to be because I can't imagine getting involved in something unless you're trying to pay back something else or get out of something.
I think
it has to be something
the
like
prop
that.
bet thing's got to change
I-
because online betting and the sports betting and the relationships with the teams and leagues now has changed, obviously, dramatically. But they got to clean that part up.
There's so much money, though. Watch any broadcast. Watch a Penguins broadcast.
Yeah.
What's your bet for the third period? We had it in baseball games. Is this guy going to hit a home run today? It's go to any ballpark, any arena. Look around. There's FanDuel. There's Bet365 logos. It's all around there. And this investigation goes back to
That
May
MGM
2023.
NFL.
So May of 2023. So you're telling me right now that what's the greatest national anthem ever sung at a Super Bowl? Whitney Houston? So Whitney Houston knew if she knew the over-under. I mean, that's what they're talking, because you're betting. We're all betting on the length. Like, people bet on the length of the national anthem. So from the national anthem, so anybody who sings the national anthem could be on the take, right? I mean, this is what it's all talking about. Because if you can influence by one pitch, and I made the same comment to Dave off air. Well, then they got to eliminate these quick little prop bets, but too much money coming
We'll
in.
see where it goes.
I had a prop bet on Jay's Super Bowl. picks, and then he switched on me, so I ended up losing that.
Yeah, and I had a prop
Dave,
bet on the big man.
Dave's just because you're on a little bit of a run. Dave's on a little bit of good pick here and there. Now, as long as
He's taking a victory
you make
lap.
your switch, you took a
Yep.
victory lap, but he deserves that. He deserves that. But if you make your switch before the season starts, then it's fair to do.
All right, gentlemen.
Yes.
Thank you, Dave.
Dave,
Appreciate it. Mr.
Larry.
Caufield. And good luck this weekend, no matter how you're betting or not betting. Pitt, Notre Dame at noon at Acrisure, 1 o'clock at Steelers, Bengals. We'll be back on Tuesday for a breakdown of everything that's everything. We want to thank One Team Media. Brian Hess is the mastermind behind it and his team. And from Odyssey Pittsburgh, Michael Spacciapoli.
and the Rourke Automotive Group, Dave Rourke being a part of a title sponsor for us, and the Rourke Advantage, lifetime state inspections, lifetime oil changes, engine warranty. Can't thank him enough. And also Tom Gross with Henderson Brothers. Larry, I know you have a little bit more to add about that, but the fact of the matter is we're so happy that both Dave and Tom are part of our podcast.
Yeah, you need a partner like Henderson Brothers, not just about insurance, but it's about your people, your business, and your future. Trusted since 1893, though Tom Grealish wasn't there when it started, just to be clear. Working with the greater Pittsburgh region. Experience the power of partnership, hendersonbrothers.com. Offset, Larry and the Big Man. That's Dave. That's a wrap.